Trustee Fields.
Here.
Trustee Wagner.
Here.
Trustee Reister.
Here.
Trustee Kissinger.
Here.
Trustee Olson.
Here.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Here.
President Frisbee.
Here. Full house tonight. We're doing some IT maintenance, it looks like, so nothing to see here. We have an agenda in front of us tonight. We have an addition to it. We want to add to the agenda, thank you so much, a resolution for Find Waldo in Vicksburg month of July. And there, if we have time, we'd like to do the budget overview as well tonight. And we'll do the budget overview after what, item 10D, after the council action items. And we'll add the resolution for Where's Waldo. We can do that 10E.
Let's do the resolution if we can afford that.
Okay, we'll flop that around. We'll do the Where's Waldo resolution before the budget. So Waldo will be 10D, and if we have time, the budget operating overview will be 10E.
Move as amended.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Would you do a roll call, please, Christian?
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Fields.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Thank you, and thank you, Christian, for entertaining me on that. Could have been a voice call, but thank you. So we have no scheduled appearances, and I see no public officials in the audience tonight. This would be a time for citizens' comments for agenda and/or non-agenda items only. This would be a time if one was to want to speak. Seeing none, I'll just make a real brief comment here that there's a couple of businesses. You know, what we do here for the village is really for the residents and the businesses. So there's been two longtime restaurants just announced closing last week. One down in Centerville, and of course our favorite down at in Three Rivers on Fisher Lake. You know, so times are tough, money's tight, businesses are struggling, so this is why we do it for the village. So we have some council actions in front of us tonight, major streets and local streets. Let Mr. Mallory present on that.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll go around.
Thank you.
Good evening. For the council's memory, we did already approve the streets that we are going to do in this fiscal year starting, and I think we even mentioned, Trustee Olson asked last meeting about, it's the neighborhoods off 22nd Street, completing Trillium, and the original Phase 1 of the Centennial neighborhood, as well as the two neighborhoods on the east side of the street's already been previously approved. We have entered a contract for that work to be done through the Road Commission of Kalamazoo County's bid process. They've awarded that bid county-wide to the firm doing that. I did confirm that it should be the month of July that they're off 22nd Street. He did not know, Trustee Olson, if they'd start at Trillium and move north or work the other way, but he did feel they would be initiated and completed in the month of July. So move that forward. Again, we're really, in the last several council meetings, taken sections of the 24-25 fiscal year budget and had discussions to ultimately lead to the 7 o'clock public hearing and presentation of the overall budget. On these specific major streets, starting with which is our 202 fund, again, major streets is a state of Michigan. It's tax dollars that we receive through the state of Michigan for gasoline tax for specific road repair, maintenance, and items associated with the roadway. Street markings that we've just done could be street signs, traffic signals, those type of items. The revenue we're anticipating from the state of Michigan is $363,500. It's going to be less, and not to get too technical, but we have a carry forward amount of money in that account. We have not identified any major roadways. There's a little over 21 miles in the village of Vicksburg. 7 miles are major streets and 14 miles are local roadways. The cost, like 2 years ago, or 2 calendar years ago, I guess, when we did Highway Street, it's a pretty substantial amount of money. So it's been trending out where we try to save as much money one year to make a significant investment in the second year. There'll also be, when we move towards what was top on the CIP list of, which will be covered at 7 o'clock, the parking lot behind the hardware store. We're going to look at contacting the state because of the storm improvements under that parking lot in an attempt to possibly use 202 or 203 money, and kind of we'll need their approval. But if we receive that, we certainly would want to use that revenue in any aid towards that parking lot. We it was in the current fiscal year because the PK could get it done. The striping was just a little over $40,000. I think it was $42,000 and change. That involved all the municipal parking lots, Angels parking lot. So it was about $19,000 on major street fund and $19,000 on the local street fund, with the balance being made up. Angels parking lot was $2,068 or $2,038, and the parking lot behind Main Street was $1,300 and some, and that would be covered under the DDA fund. So we'll continue to move forward. We've asked both, we'll coordinate through the police and DPW department to identify street signs, whether that's the street name signs, stop signs, or any traffic control type sign in the village, to update those. Our goal will be over the next 12 months to any of the outdated, aged signs to be replaced with new ones, again under more of a beautification process. And where appropriate, that will come from the state money in both the major street fund and local street fund. I'll be happy to answer any other questions. There is an administrative charge off that we do on these funds each budget cycle, but again, it's state money that comes in. It's one of the 7 revenue generating items or funds that we bring revenue in, and we try to use that first. But as far as it's related to major streets, be happy to answer any questions. I spoke to the Rotary Club on Friday afternoon. I did receive a question reference truck routes and changing truck routes and seeing if we can get trucks off Kalamazoo Avenue, and actually had a conversation on that. Just to inform everyone, that is a major roadway, and that's part of receiving those funds, is having the availability of the trucks to utilize that. So as I informed the Rotary Club, it would be my position not to move that street off of major street funds. We know in our evaluation it's probably the street in most desired improvement throughout the village is Kalamazoo Avenue, and to currently keep that in a major fund or major street classification would be our recommendation. We know that within the next 5 or 6 years, it's our goal. We're keeping our radar open for external funding sources to improve that sewer system under Kalamazoo. part of that project would be replacing that roadway. So again, as much dollars as we can keep in the 202 fund, knowing that projects on the horizon is in the betterment of the village overall. So it did come up at the Rotary Club. So if you have been asked that or thought that, that's kind of the staff and our position to keep that a major street due to funding. That's what it comes down to. It'd be our recommendation then that the council, if we have a motion and support to approve the major street section of the 24-25 fiscal year with revenue at $363,500, expenditures at $334,250. And for all of these funds, and we'll go into more detail at 7 o'clock, we will continue to have quarterly amendments as we move through a fiscal year.
Well, we have a request in front of us to approve the major street, local street funds.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and support, and some discussion. Anyone want? I think that's a great idea, Jim, trying to look at other funding sources for the parking lot. Continue on that, please, thanks. We'll do a roll call, please, Christian. Excuse me?
Oh, Tim.
Sorry, Gil.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering, with the trucks coming through and saying coming from the north down Sprinkle, are they supposed to turn and come around rather than coming around the new portion there by Main Street Pub? In other words, turning before that and going down Richardson or down Kalamazoo Avenue?
We've given them the availability to do it either way, especially northbound. We would prefer them to continue north on Kalamazoo and come over to Richardson that way. And I believe I would rely on Jimmy in that we know that it's more than before, but the other on that area of Kalamazoo and Prairie, Richardson and Prairie, Chief Sanderson worked with Traffic Services about 2 or 3 weeks ago now on syncing those lights with additional, and Scott can correct me, I believe it's additional time on Prairie Street, less on Kalamazoo to keep that traffic moving. So he's on top of that as
Okay,
well.
thank you so much.
Actually, okay, you talked about the major streets. Did I miss the local streets?
That will be a separate, right?
Okay.
Following.
Got it,
Yep.
okay.
Would signage fall under major streets for like neighborhood signage or no?
That would be under local
Local,
streets.
okay.
So their state money would cover that as well.
Any further questions or discussion? If you would please, Christian, the roll call.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Fields. President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes, motion carries. We'll move to Angels Crossing Golf Course, a 584 fund. Local streets. Need a 10A1.
I'll take responsibility for that. Same, 14 miles of roadway. We've gone over, it's about $228,000 we're investing in local streets in the neighborhood, street improvement plan off of 22nd Street. Same talking points, going to use other money within the neighborhoods for sign replacements if markings are needed, that type of item there. We do anticipate with carry forward having in a revenue column $365,000 with expenditures being $326,250 in that fund. But specific to local streets, be happy to answer any questions.
So, Trustee Kissinger here. I have a couple signs in our neighborhood in Centennial. Could I just talk to you about them afterwards?
Yep, just send me
I'll send you an email. I'll send you a picture of them, and then
Sure.
I do have a question. There's just no coherency on Ives Mill. It's connected into like a new neighborhood, the new Centennial now, and we have a yield sign on one end and a stop sign on the other end. Is that something we could address at this
I
time
know
too?
we added a stop sign at the residents' request that live where the stop sign is.
Okay.
The yield sign,
'Cause
is
I live
that
at-
closer to the
I live
exit?
I live at the yield sign. No, on the corner in the neighborhood.
Yeah, if you just send us that, we'll have Jimmy and Scott evaluate it.
Okay.
And if it's more appropriate that that's a stop sign as well, then those would be switched out.
Okay. Thank you.
Jim, I got a quick question. This may or may not have anything to do with it. Centennial Plat and Trillium Plat, the new plats going in between. We have the roundabout there in Trillium. Is that going to be connected into the new plat, or is that going to be blocked off and houses built across that area? Because I've seen plans for both.
Yeah, the latest plan, and I'm going by memory in front of the Planning Commission, was the new development, that neighborhood streets will flow to the south through Trillium and out to 22nd Street. There's no going north into Centennial. Specific to the roundabout is, there's two connecting streets, and I will correct it. I'll give you a call tomorrow if this is wrong, but I believe my memory says there is a connecting southbound street to that roundabout.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's one of the big concerns is that with school buses and additional traffic, it's going to put extra strain on the Trillium Plat.
Yeah, we can work with the bus routes. I don't know if the buses have even looked at what
Well,
routes. but-
obviously, I mean, this plat's not going to be built tomorrow.
Right.
If it gets started next year, it's going to be a miracle. But, I mean, I figure we're looking a couple of years down the line, too.
I think it'll be the infrastructure construction could start this fall,
Okay?
because of emails of what they're tracking that have come to me in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So at least the staking in that of it. But I do know on the design that our engineer firm looked at traffic patterns when they supported the way of the layout. I do know that.
Okay.
President Frisbee, so moved.
We have support?
Support?
Any further discussions?
Jim, just broadly speaking, so since it's been brought up, the new development, how do new developments like that potential plat impact our accessibility to that state money for major and local roadways? Is it based on miles of roadway or?
Yeah, the initial investment into the infrastructure, which includes the roadway, is the developer's cost at our specs. At a certain point in the development, that infrastructure, the roads, the sewer, the water, because they have all those investment costs as well, the title ownership will transfer to the village. So then we will assume all the ongoing maintenance in that. When that happens, we'll have the length of each of those streets, and we will file it with the state of Michigan, those additional roadways in our village. Those will all be filed as local roadways, though, due to the location in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and thanks for that. I just wanted to kind of have a refresher on that for those that might not remember how that all
Yes.
functions. So thank you.
Any further questions, discussion? If you do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Fields. Yes. Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes.
Angels Crossing is unique in that it's an enterprise fund, so it's basically government operating a business. We usually wait to the fourth quarter. You'll see significant, within the document that was sent to the council, budget amendment recommendations over Angels Crossing. As we sit right now, it certainly looks good out at Angels. So this is a little bit different. We don't dive really into the weeds. It's more of a high altitude. We're estimating revenues just over $1.6 million, $1,623,500. We're estimating expenses at $1,598,400. Some items we have received very positive feedback in the investments that have been made out to the golf course, both in the configuration of the 7th green. We did have a 10% rate increase for this golf season that has been met overwhelmingly positive. We certainly have received a couple inquiries, but our like the tracking apps where people can use apps for GPS and playing golf that can also rate a golf course, the ratings on the 3 major apps are incredible for Angels Crossing on conditions of the golf course and value. And we certainly appreciate Tom Ham's leadership in Renaissance Golf for their oversight and their advice. Certainly want to pass along the gratitude to this council. The 2 brand new John Deere green mowers have arrived. The 2 T-box mowers that the council approved 2.5 years ago arrived as well, unrelated to each other. So we did, the company upgraded due to that lag time and some situations that happened. So we have an upgrade of that machinery that's arrived out at Angels. But it is part of our budget, and our recommendation is a motion in support to approve that presented aspect for Angels Crossing.
So moved.
Support.
So we have a motion to support. Any further discussion or questions for Jim? It looks like a pretty slim line there this year with the revenue anticipated and the expenses are.
We do that every year, and then we're not surprised, but pleased to report usually during the audit the movement of where Angels has come. So we're going to stick with what the mojo has been the last 4 years. I'm not going to be surprised if barring any negative incidents, that Angels will continue to make money for the village of Vicksburg.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a support. We'll do a roll call, please. Christian?
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Fields? Yes. Trustee Kissinger?
Yes.
Trustee Reister?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller?
Yes.
President Frisbee?
Yes. That takes us to employee compensation.
Yes, sir. You know, I've now entered, or going to be entering into my 34th year of public service at 2 different municipalities, first being the city of Kalamazoo and now the village of Vicksburg. And it really, as I reflect back, especially on now, which is about 27 years in management and about 24 years in senior management, it doesn't matter whether it's a squad or a platoon. Sergeant might lead a squad, a lieutenant a platoon, staff at rank of executive lieutenant or captain will lead a division, or even being a chief leading a department. So you have other departments in the city as well that are part of a budget process. And in all of those assignments, I've always been proud of the team that we've been able to assemble in benchmarks of accomplishment. And it's tough. This usually only happens if I'm talking about Stephanie. We have an exceptional group of employees. And I mean that. And that's all of them. Our frontline DPW staff, our officers. When you think in today's climate of policing, in the competition, looking for quality officers to serve citizens, and neighboring communities offering $15,000 signing bonuses, and to have all of our officers remain here in the village of Vicksburg. I always say data and facts are stubborn. And that's pretty good data and stats when human beings have an opportunity to stay in the same profession, but choose to serve the citizens and visitors of this community. Our DPW staff, regardless, we've talked about it, group of 5 individuals that do everything from mowing lawns, weed whacking, not as often as some might want, but they still do it. From the major stuff, keeping it all flowing and moving and pumping, and it's hit me during the Citizens Academy that I have not spent enough time expressing my gratitude for what's accomplished. So we'll try tonight. The wage, we also have a duty and obligation to represent the citizens. And that's the responsibility the council's entrusted me with. If I could, the compensation would be recommended to be a lot higher. Compared 16 municipalities, all of which have under a 10,000 person population. Did a deep dive and looked at different variables within compensation to come up with what I recommend tonight. Also collected data for the positions of Director of Finance, Police Chief, Clerk, and DPW Director. I believe that the performance of the team of professionals working for Vicksburg is unmatched for any municipality our size. And I think, humbly, the data and results demonstrate it. Based on the performance of the individuals and the comparable base wage increases by similar municipalities, I'm recommending across the board 4% increase for the following employees. Assistant Village Manager, well, I think it's better by name, so we'll Scott Sanderson, Michelle Morgan, Jimmy Myers, Christian Wines, and the DPW personnel. The yearly pay rate percentage increase only excludes the members of the Vicksburg Police Association, as we have a contract with them that covers this fiscal year. It had a 3.5% raise in it. It was negotiated over 2 years ago. The lifespan of the contract's 4 years and goes until December 31st of 2026. It is my recommendation to, on a non-precedent setting basis, to implement a 0.5% increase for the Vicksburg police officers to ensure that their percentage rate increase stands at 4% as well. That, again, will be offered with the support of the council in a non-precedent setting memo of understanding with the association. The other data was analyzed on this, and we brought up the fact of, I think it's a very positive thing, very appreciative of the council for supporting the health benefit package that we presented. I think employees' liability is reduced to their personal pocket, and I think the coverage is better. And I think by being a member of the pool, our long-term ability to offer a package such as we're doing this year will continue. We talked, and I'm recommending that each employee receive $1,500 into their healthcare savings plan that takes the health benefits by the village. I think that's everyone but me that's full-time. That payment will be made in the month of August if approved, and again, be put right into their healthcare savings plan. I'm recommending Teresa Essex, who has done a very good job, better than a very good job, whatever that vernacular might be, as a customer service person and utility today. Sit and listen a quarterly list of reminding people to pay their invoices and what's due. I am recommending a merit payment of $750, not only the 4% raise, but a one-time payment of $750 in recognition for the effort and performance she does. Continually assist with downtown events, projects, other assignments, always greeted in a positive manner and willing to take on. And she doesn't come to council meetings. I think everyone here has met her, but I assure you and give you my word that she is an outstanding member of our team. In the heart of the village of Vicksburg, our department directors embody a profound dedication to public service, marked by their unwavering passion, professionalism, and integrity. Each leader, Scott Sanderson, Michelle Morgan, Jimmy Myers, and Christian Wines, is a pillar of commitment, tirelessly working for the betterment of our community. Their passion fuels their efforts, driving innovation and excellence in every endeavor. With a deep-rooted belief in the potential for Vicksburg, they invest wholeheartedly in its growth and prosperity, ensuring every decision is made with the village's best interest at heart. Their professionalism sets a standard, fostering an environment of respect and accountability within their teams and across the community. Guided by unimpeachable integrity, they uphold ethical principles, earning trust and admiration from residents and colleagues alike. They are not just directors, they are champions for this village, exemplifying what it means to be all in for our village's future. It's for these reasons and more, I'm recommending a one-time merit payment in the amount of $1,500 for Scott Sanderson, Michelle Morgan, Jimmy Myers, Christian Wines, to be made in the second payroll check during the month of July. I'm grateful that they are on our team. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
President Frisbee, so moved.
Trustee Wagner, support.
We have motion and support. Now, time to ask Jim of any questions or discussion. I like the way you've recognized them, Jim. And really appreciate your words about the team. So we have a motion to support. I think Jim has laid it out for us pretty clearly. Barring any further discussions, you do a roll call, please, Christian?
I'd just like to say that I agree wholeheartedly, Jim. I think we have one of the best teams and wish we could compensate everybody more. But this is at least a step in that direction.
Thank you.
Would you do a roll call, please?
Trustee Fields? Yes. Trustee Wagner?
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Motion carries. It moves on to 10E, or no, 10D, where's Waldo resolution.
We're going to excuse Jimmy Myers. His daughter is in a softball doubleheader.
Good luck.
Yes. So I think this demonstrates what we have going here in Vicksburg. Really not initiated by government in any means, but we had a local business leader take on this program and opportunity, and we've had close, if not, might have exceeded so far this week, 30 different businesses jumping on board. So we're gonna, in the village of Vicksburg, it's right now sitting out by Teresa's, has a little Waldo thing, so we're involved in it. And as each of you have now your passports to get stamped at different businesses throughout the month of July. So tonight does not count for seeing where Waldo is here. But we felt it was appropriate, and staff is recommending the following resolution. Recognizing that the month of July 2024 will be known as Find Waldo in Vicksburg Month. Whereas in excess of 30 local businesses have joined together to focus on Shop Local, Find Waldo Here during the entire month of July 2024, and whereas from July 1st through July 31st, a Waldo standee will be hidden within 26 businesses, including the Village of Vicksburg's municipal building, and whereas the Waldo standee can be moved place to place within these establishments each day, and whereas Find Waldo seekers will visit the Village of Vicksburg and these establishments to find Waldo, and whereas upon finding Waldo in the establishments, the Waldo seeker will receive a stamped or signature from each of the establishments. And whereas Waldo seekers who receive at minimum 10 stamps or signatures on their card, the first 125 will receive a special sticker and a $1 off coupon from Gilbert and Ivy Bookstore. And whereas Waldo seekers who collect at least 20 stamps and signatures will be entered into a drawing for a grand prize. And whereas the grand prize drawing will be held on Wednesday, July 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. during the Berg Days of Summer event in downtown Vicksburg in front of Gilbert and Ivy Bookstore. And whereas immediately after the drawing, there are plans for an aerial photo of the Berg Days crowd to create a real-life Where's Waldo photo. And now, therefore, it be resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Vicksburg that the month of July 2024 shall be known as, in quotes, Find Waldo in Vicksburg Month. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Jim, will you be dressing up as Waldo?
There will be, it's highly encouraged that everyone dresses up as Waldo on the 24th. We have committed some DDA funds in the purchase of Waldo hats, so we will be involved in that. And I do know that there will be a real Waldo for that aerial photo on the 24th. And it will not be me, the real Waldo, but there will be the real Waldo here. So,
I would just like to thank Kim Meyer for really getting this started. I think it's very exciting. It's going to create a lot of excitement in the village and get people into our businesses. So I think it's a great idea.
I think so too. It's kind of what President Frisbee alluded to. You know, I think we use a cliche, if we can rise the tide, all the ships will come up with it, meaning all these businesses working together have found that on these events, or they partnership in their marketing and in different ways to get people into our village out of nothing, even if it's just curiosity alone. The products and service that they offer bring people back usually. So, yeah.
President Frisbee, so moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? And I know I've talked to a couple of business owners here in town, and they're just ecstatic about it, right? Jim just made the comment, you've got to have a reason to come here first. You can't, the intent is to have somebody buy something from your business, but you got to have a reason even to be there. So anyway, anytime we can build up this community, build up our business infrastructure, it can only get better. So we have a motion and support. Any further discussion? So we'll do a roll call for Waldo, please.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Fields,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So 10E, we have some budget resolution.
This isn't the resolution, I just
No.
figured with the time that we have left, this will
Oh,
lead
the discussion,
into
yeah.
that discussion at 7 o'clock. Village of Vicksburg ended the 23-24 fiscal year by completing a substantial CIP project. A $2.6 million project constructing a new municipal building. The project was funded with cash and was completed on time and within budget. The Village of Vicksburg also completed a comprehensive master plan update for the village, formally approved a public participation plan, welcomed a new Big B's Coffee House, and began the process to review a site plan for a new car wash within the village. An emphasis was placed on the village creating an economic impact on our core downtown businesses throughout the year. The highlight of the 23-24 fiscal year was the initiation of the Berg Days of Summer events, wherein the village hosted live music, food trucks, family activities, and hands-on cultural arts programming during 9 Wednesday evenings throughout the summer of 2023. The average attendance was 3,500 people per Wednesday. The success of Berg Days inspired us to create the first ever Senior Berg Day in Vicksburg. Over 200 seniors enjoyed music, crafts, arts, and lunch on a Thursday afternoon at the historic pavilion. 4 large screen TVs were purchased for the DDA area and were deployed throughout the downtown for multiple sporting events. The Christmas in the Berg event drew the largest number of people into our downtown, with in excess of 14,000 people in attendance. The Berg Days of Summer are in the second summer, starting this past June 12th. Engagement with the community we serve was a focus as well throughout the fiscal year. The 23-24 fiscal year, it resulted in the village holding the first annual Citizens Police Academy, which focused on our local government. This was a 6-week course highlighting the Village of Vicksburg's governmental operations for 15 citizens who elected to attend. Communication with the public we serve was enhanced by the addition of TextMyGov system, and we expanded our email distribution list to over 1,000. And drove our social media presence to nearly 7,500 followers on Facebook. For the 3rd year in a row, the village co-sponsored a Reading in the Park program in which the entire staff of the village read to over 150 youth who were divided up into small 8 to 10 person groups in our historic village. After reading to the groups for an hour, the youth were treated to a touch-a-truck event. The Village of Vicksburg had the highest growth percentage of all 23 village cities and townships located within Kalamazoo County between 2022 and 2023. Within our fiscal year, there were over 100 new residential homes that were constructed, and resold homes averaged less than 7 days on the market. The Village of Vicksburg continued to invest in our local roads and non-motorized trail system. The entire length of Highway Street was paved with new asphalt, as well as the non-motorized trail was repaved from the village limits to TU Avenue. A significant investment was made in road striping and crosswalk markings throughout the entire village. All municipal parking lots were striped as well. All of these investments received multiple positive comments from residents and visitors. The large decaying barn at Legion Industrial Park and the Old Village Hall were both demoed in the 23-24 fiscal year. Capital improvement investments were made in purchasing a new 2500 Chevy pickup truck, an updated plow truck for the Department of Public Works, a new patrol vehicle for Vicksburg Police Department, and the village purchased 10 acres of industrial zone land on the east side of the village for future development. A $3.1 million infrastructure project contract was awarded to replace all water mains and 110 lead line leads into homes in the neighborhood north of the Vicksburg Middle School. We were able to secure a $1.2 million grant to fund 38.7% of this project. The Village of Vicksburg was able to secure $500,000 in grant dollars, in which we initiated a housing improvement grant program for owner-occupied homes based on a percentage of poverty level income data. This program assisted 11 separate families in its initial year and invested over $120,000. 2023-2024 fiscal year was also the inaugural year that a military banner program began in Vicksburg. 19 military veterans are recognized on banners attached to streetlights along Prairie Street. Happy to report we have 5 additional applications that have been filled out, and we're waiting for the 6th as we will continue to grow that program 6 at a time. The Village of Vicksburg was proud to receive a special tribute from the U.S. House of Representatives for planning and delivering on building a new municipal building financed with cash. The American Council of Engineering Companies of Michigan recognized the Village of Vicksburg with the State of Michigan 2024 Merit Award for our downtown infrastructure and streetscape improvements. We are also humbled and honored to receive recognition from Southwest Michigan First, the Chamber of Southwest Michigan, the Michigan Municipal League, and Discover Kalamazoo. The development of the 24-25 fiscal year budget's foundation is to continue to keep the positive momentum of the village progressing forward. The Village of Vicksburg operates a set of financial controls that are established by state law and detailed in our village ordinance. All local governments are required to prepare and administer an annual balanced budget. How well the village has performed in administering the budget is then reviewed at the end of the fiscal year by an independent auditor. The village has a track record of excellence in budgeting and financial management since 2016. Vicksburg has repeatedly received from outside independent auditors positive marks without any auditing comments the past 6 years. Like any good business, we like to develop a detailed plan in order to maintain a financially sound and stable village. It continues to be the philosophy to not incur any general fund tax debt and to pay for capital items with cash via a sound financial savings plan. The village budget has 2 main components, general fund and non-general fund. In order to fully understand how the village finances its projects and program, it is important to know the difference. General fund, taxpayer dollars are deposited in the general fund, along with state shared revenue, franchise fees, business license fees, interest income, and miscellaneous revenues and beginning cash balance is. This portion of the budget is comprised largely of discretionary funds. Since the village council and village manager can allocate the funds to programs and services in any area, in other words, there are few restrictions on how these resources may be allocated. General fund dollars are used to support village services as our Department of Public Works, Vicksburg Police Department, South Kalamazoo County Fire Authority, and Vicksburg Parks and Recreation, as well as planning, community development, and administrative support services. All other funds, often referred to as dedicated funds, the non-discretionary funds include enterprise funds such as wastewater and water rates, Angels Crossing Golf Course, grants and donations, contract revenues, and other revenues specifically dedicated for a particular purpose. Other specifically dedicated revenues would be major and local road money, which is Act 51, Downtown Development Authority, and Brownfield Development. The revenue received in these departments are restricted to only be used for the purposes outlined in the state of Michigan statutes for each. Budget process. In accordance with the village charter and ordinance, the village manager shall prepare and submit to the council prior to July 1st of each calendar year a recommended budget including the following information: detailed estimates with supporting explanation of all proposed expenditures for each department, office, and agency or subunit of the village, showing the expenditures for the corresponding items for the last preceding fiscal year in full and for the current fiscal year, which we've done tonight up to June 21st, 2024. And we've estimated what the balance of those current fiscal years as they're presented in the fourth quarter budget amendments. Detailed estimates for all anticipated revenues of the village from sources other than taxes with a comparative statement of the amounts received by the village for each of the same or similar sources for the last preceding fiscal year in full and for the current fiscal year, and estimated to July 1st. Estimated revenues for the balance of the 23-24 fiscal year as presented in the fourth quarter budget amendments. Other such supporting information as the village council may request. The next step in the budget process is to place the recommended budget on file for the public to review and set a date for the required public hearing. It's Michigan Public Act 43 of 1963, which has been scheduled for the third Village Council meeting in June. That's today, Monday, June 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. The council may then choose to adopt the budget at the same meeting following the public hearing. In accordance with the village charter, the budget must be approved by the village council no later than the last day of June. The Village of Vicksburg publishes within 6 months of the close of each fiscal year a complete set of financial statement presented in conformity with the general accepted accounting principles and audited in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards by a firm of licensed certified public accountants. The results of the financial audit are presented at a village council meeting in January each year. Highlights for the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Total general fund revenues are estimated to be $2,260,412, with associated expenditures of $1,858,884. A renewed focus on beautification throughout the village, specifically our park system, downtown development association area, and the historic village building and grounds. A complete update to our Parks and Rec plan. A complete update to our Downtown Development Association plan. A new website containing improved services to the citizens we serve. Holding the second annual Citizens Academy on Local Government. Commitment to financial transparency with the continuation of the Vicksburg financial transparency data on our website, the community calendar being utilized within and live streaming all governmental meetings. A wage increase and improved health care benefits for employees that is in alignment with similar municipalities. In excess of $225,000 of investments into our roads. $127,000 committed to Parks and Recreation Department, including repairing multiple buildings in the historic village, investing in the first kayak rental station at Sunset Lake Park, and new disc golf hole markers and signs, as well as a continuation of the Movies in the Park program. continuation of the goose roundup and egg collection at Sunset Lake, continuation of a fully staffed, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week police department focused on delivering WOW service based on a procedural justice mindset, continuation of the school resource officer in partnership with Vicksburg Community Schools, continuation of downtown events throughout the year, and adding the Iceberg event as a village-sponsored event to stimulate our local economy. Continuing the home repair grant program, assisting owner-occupied housing based on a percentage of poverty level income. Continuing the property improvement grant program for businesses within our DDA district. A financial plan involving State of Michigan Act 51 road improvement dollars that will ensure limited liabilities involving debt for the reconstruction of roads during a significant infrastructure project. Again, approximately $230,000 will be invested in reconstruction of roads during the 2024 calendar year. An infrastructure project, which we have titled Phase 1, which is the neighborhood north of the middle school, updating 110 lead line replacements as well as the associated water mains. It's a $3.1 million project, which the village received $1.2 million in grants to assist in funding. We'll also, in securing a federal appropriation for Phase 2 of the lead line replacement plan. This will invest in all water mains in between 160 and 170 lead lines that enter residential housing. Federal appropriation will pay for 80% of the $5.1 million project. A task will be initiated starting July 1st, moving all historical documents to an electronic records retention system. I applaud Christian and Teresa as we're going to get a couple scanners, and they're going to start to take a bite out of the elephant each day and see how we can progress throughout the year. And at 7 o'clock, I'll be recommending approval of the presented 2024-2025 fiscal year budget as presented.
Thank you, Jim. Well, we'll wait till our 7 o'clock meeting for any further discussion. So that opens it up to trustee time. We'll start with trustee Olson.
Thank you. Real quick, I got good news on 2 levels this weekend. 2 years ago, the Van Buren County Historical Society took a direct hit to their building. Their roof wound up about a half mile away, and they said they had a lot of damage to the building and the contents. They had their grand reopening yesterday after 2 years. On Wednesday, I'm meeting with them, and myself and other people are going to go in. I'm going to appraise their rare book collection, and I have 2 friends that are going to go in and appraise their antique medical pieces. The other thing is that my nephew, David Ryan, you might know my brother Dave, it's his oldest son. He started his own business in Live Fire Republic a few years ago. He's very successful at it. He's been on just about every major network, NBC, ABC, Food Networks, everything else. He recently released his own brand of whiskey to go with the steaks and everything else. He has been requested to cook a very large dinner for Kid Rock and his band and followers. So Thursday night he's having a fundraiser in Grand Rapids, a large one. Friday morning, 6 o'clock, he's boarding a plane and flying to Missouri, and he's going to cook this very large dinner for a very large group. It doesn't get much better than this unless you get invited to the White House, and I wouldn't go to the White House, so neither would Davy. But anyhow, that's the two good things that I've got. Thank you.
You know, just taking note of the time right now, we'll have another meeting to address trustees' comments, and we'll move that to our,
Adjourn.
Support?
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just a note, we're going to take about a 7-minute break, and we'll be back with our 7 o'clock meeting. Thank you. Thank you all for bearing with us. This is our regular session council meeting, June 24, 2024. Call this meeting to order. If you join us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To this point tonight, so thank you. If you would do a roll call when you're ready, Christian.
Trustee Kissinger.
Here.
Trustee Olson.
Here.
Trustee Reister.
Here.
Trustee Wagner.
Here.
Trustee Fields.
Here.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Here.
President Frisbee.
Here. We have a full house tonight. Thank you all for being here. We don't have any scheduled appearances, and from looking in the audience, we don't have any public officials either.
Those can just be added in the consent agenda as two additional amendments,
Oh, they're in there?
yeah, along with the others that
All
have
right.
been provided to the council.
Any other changes or additions? Hearing none, we have an agenda in front of us. What's this council's desire?
Move as amended.
Support?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have an agenda in front of us tonight. We'll jump to citizens' comments, but I don't see anyone that's stepping forward. So we have a general consent agenda from our June 17th meeting. We have warrant reports and our 2023-2024 fourth quarter budget amendment and event requests and no correspondence.
I move as amended.
Support.
We have a motion to support. We do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Fields. Yes. Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So we have council actions tonight. We need to move into closed session. I'd request a motion to move into closed session and support.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we'll be back in probably 20 minutes.
I support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we're back in public meeting. Thank you all for your patience tonight. So we have 10B, Village Manager full year compensation. So it is the recommendation of the HR committee to present in front of you. We're asking for a 13% pay increase for Village Manager Mallory. We can get if I can have a motion of support and a motion and support.
So moved.
Can I offer comments?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah, I would propose reducing that to 10% and taking the 3% and dividing it 4 ways amongst the department directors, which would move their merit from $1,500 to $2,300 for the 4 directors.
President Frisbee, I amend my original motion.
Support.
Jim, that just shows your integrity, your character, and your concern for your staff. That is undeniable. So we have that motion and we have support. We'll do a roll call, please. Christian?
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Fields. Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes?
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank all of you. I truly appreciate it.
Well, we go through what you've done for this community, and you can't fit it all on one page. I had from last year your accomplishments that were a page, and you add on this year, you're going to need a book here pretty soon. So we're all very supportive of the direction that you've taken this community, and thank you very much. And that moves us on to the budget funds.
Yes, areas that we have, and we are recommending a slight increase on both per meeting compensation for the village president and members of the village council. And it would be going up $15 per meeting. So a total of $90 per meeting for the president, $65 for the trustees, and we propose a $10 a meeting increase for planning commission to $45 per meeting on those funds. But be happy to answer any question that is, so you're all worth it, nowhere near the top of the comparable list, but certainly is moves up a slight bit.
Well, that's
A hamburger
appreciated.
and a pop a month.
Can we just? I can remember Jim asked me one time, what's my problem? And I said, I made $19.69 for being on the planning commission chair. So it's nice to see some reciprocal coming back around and rewarding it. Reciprocation.
I can just tell you that
So
when I
big
first got
words.
on the council, I didn't even know I was going to get paid.
Well, we have a recommendation by staff.
Trustee Wagner, I'll move as presented.
Second.
We'll do a roll call, please. Any further discussions or comments? We'll do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Olson.
Yes?
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Fields. Trustee Reister.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Jim, did I go out of order with your motion of compensation, or you have?
No,
Okay.
the village manager's fund, or say, of the overall budget has other items. It's standard, nothing is increased. Same amount of money for professional development. I usually attend one MML conference per year, and then membership in the Michigan Municipal Executives Association. But there is one item of that I am submitting on, would be right now budgeted amount of $40,000. It is not, it's for a position, and it certainly would not start prior to October 1st. I structured the budget for the potential for a 20 to 24 hour professional position to assist on ongoing projects and at a management level. I am leaning heavily towards this, but I also want to make sure it's the right person and the right person becomes available. So I do want to note that it has nothing to do with me but it is within the code historically where an executive, titled an assistant village manager. This would not have that title. I don't want to lead anyone to believe. I have, as long as the council's happy, I certainly have no plans right now on moving anywhere, and maybe next year even look at extending an agreement. But I did want you aware of that $40,000 and really a new millennium title like a chief strategy officer or something like that.
I just want to make sure that the video and the recording captured what he just said about possibly staying on longer. Thank you.
Put it in writing.
There we go.
So do we have an action on that, Jim?
Yes, same thing. It'd be on the 172
So
fund.
moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? Do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Fields.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So we need to move into a public hearing, open public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we're in the public open meeting now.
And to my knowledge, and I'm checking with the clerk and staff, we did not receive any written public comments reference, and we have provided the council that it was properly noticed through MLive, the public hearing.
I will move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So did we just jump by item E2 on that move, or
So we're at 10F.
there are no citizens' comments, so we'll move on. 10F.
And this is the resolution for the formal adoption of the 24-25 fiscal year budget. Also contains the utility rates as presented by Andy Campbell, I think now maybe 6 weeks ago, based on his recommendation. I think what I'll do is, if you're comfortable with it, I'm going to come back to this seat.
Yeah, come back here, please.
The utility rates listed will have, for the average residents within the village, a $26.29 increase per quarter or a yearly increase of $105.16 for the entire year. As Mr. Campbell reported, on the sewer side, that is substantially, we received a 20% increase from the city of Kalamazoo due to infrastructure upgrades they're making. And the water increase is the second half that has the appropriate funding level for the project north of the middle school, as well as operating that system. And then I'll pause there if there's any questions. The millage rate is lower just a little bit. I think it's 0.2. So the tax levy will be at 14.9314 mils as set by the Kalamazoo County Treasurer. Again, and I guess it's the resolution 0624-2024-2 sets and is spelled out. We haven't read it in the past. It's been provided to all the council. If you'd like me to read it, I can. But a substantial impact on utility rates is the unfunded mandate to replace lead lines, as well as the cost for treatment of wastewater has increased at that 20% mark in 2024. We did have Baker Tilly, as the council's well aware. They're an independent outside firm. They're municipal advisors in the state of Michigan for over 100 municipalities. That their recommended rates for the village of Vicksburg is what staff is recommending to follow. And then it lists all of our funds, proposed revenues, proposed expenditures, and also it's an activity level budget, so that's each fund would have to balance, but we did provide the council with detailed on specific line item expenditures as well. And that is how we present our quarterly amendments, is by the line item, even though it might be within an activity level balance. We just think the transparency of that level will continue in the future, but I'll be happy to answer any questions. Or if there's a motion in support, then.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion to support, so any further questions or discussion with Jim? I just want to make note that, we've been impacted from, circumstances beyond our control, and the wastewater, the sewage treatment especially has been the big driver for these increases. And I appreciate the communities, but yeah, we're looking long-term. What are we doing for this village, where my kids grow up and they have kids? What is going to be the long-term health of this community? And short of that, the grants that Jim has gone after to offset this, these unfunded mandates has been phenomenal, right? We've got the lead water we're doing to the north of the middle school, and 38% of it is on our shoulders. So the rest of it we've gotten grant money for. So the staff is doing their due diligence to lesser the impact of this sewer treatment that we pump up to Kalamazoo. So I just want to, make reference to that, and thanks to Jim and his staff for being so proactive on these grant funds to assist with this. Well, so we have a motion to support, and hearing no further discussion, entertain a roll call, please. Christian?
Trustee Fields? Yes. Trustee Reister?
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller?
Yes.
President Frisbee?
Yes. So we on to CIP program?
Yes.
capital improvement plan.
As we had informed the council, we provided a fairly detailed resolution 0624-2024-03, which is the capital improvement plan for the fiscal year through 2029, 2030 fiscal year. Whereas one of the most important purposes of planning is to anticipate the needs of the community for future facility improvements and to provide a stable base from which to work in order to achieve these needs. This is a function of the capital improvement program, which can help the village develop and implement long-range policies for physical development. And whereas capital improvements are those major non-reoccurring expenditures for physical facilities of government or recurring expenditures for physical items which cost over $5,000, such as equipment and vehicles or the installation of sewer and water mains, as well as the 2018 State of Michigan unfunded mandate to replace an average of 5% of the village's total lead line services each year with full 100% replacement in 20 years and have a useful life of at least 3 years after the date of purchase. A CIP is a 6-year evaluation that forecasts the priorities and provides an appropriate opportunity for review of a municipality's overall development for the near future. And whereas the benefits of the CIP process relate to fiscal stewardship and successful implementing the comprehensive master plan from 2024, other benefits, past, present, and future, include implementing plans for new public works that are identified in the master plan, building new public facilities in locations identified within governmental processes, and consistent with village policy, weighing cost of projects against each other to determine the greatest value and priority during any given fiscal year, dividing projects into parts or phases, whether it's land acquisition, design, development, and maintenance, identifying the total project cost for expensive facilities in enough time to secure adequate funding through grants, bonds, donations, special assessments, or the village's first choice or preferred option, which is funding a project with financed by cash, spreading out capital debt over many years, helping make sure logistical sequencing of events or pairing of projects take place so that the water line is not replaced the year after the road is resurfaced, taking into account life expectancy of various municipal facilities and can plan for replacement in the future year, establishing an effective local system for financial planning and management over a longer time frame than that of an individual project. And the 6 major advantages of a CIP plan are: 1, coordinates community goals, needs, and capabilities, achieves optimum use of taxpayer dollars, encourages more efficient governmental administration, maintain a sound and stable fiscal year, serves wider community interest, enhances opportunities for participation in federal and/or state in-grant aid program. And whereas the CIP is authorized by the Michigan Planning and Enabling Act, PA 33 of 2008, as amended, and is required by Redevelopment Ready Community Certification by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And whereas the Vicksburg Planning Commission reviewed the CIP, made a favorable recommendation to adopt at their May 13, 2024 regular meeting. And we're asking and recommending the council to support the same resolution. We have put in a narrative with the resolution, as well as the assignments that have been made, saving for capital items with an anticipated fiscal year of implementation, and some results from public surveys that we have sent out both internally and externally. And again, it's part of the RRC program, and we'll be sure upon approval to upload that in that process.
Well, staff is asking us to improve the capital improvement plan.
So moved.
Support.
All right, so any further discussion? I just wanted to show this in case anybody's watching on YouTube, how we lay it out by line item, by budget, and looking ahead down the road, allocating funds, so when the time comes, we can pay cash for it. You know, this building was almost a 6-year plan to save cash and no burden on the residents or the taxpayers of this community. So it's a great program. I think everybody's really bought into it. We've got a motion and support. We'll do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Reister. Yes. Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Fields,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. We've adopted the capital improvement plan.
Yes, and I'll ask the Director of Finance, Michelle Morgan, to speak on Resolution 0623-2023-1. 24-1.
Thank you, Manager Mallory. Each year, at this time of the year, we bring before the council staff's recommendation for a resolution. This year's resolution is 0624-2024-1, resolution directing delinquencies due the Village of Vicksburg from various property owners to be placed on the 2024 property tax roll pursuant to the Village of Vicksburg ordinances. These are delinquencies for utility billing that are 6 months to 12 months old, and so they are eligible to be moved to the tax roll as of July 1st, 2024. And so on this resolution, you will notice the property tax ID number and the amount that's delinquent. And so, do you want me to read the whole resolution? Okay.
I don't think
So
you need
in
to.
short, those that have not paid this delinquency by June 27th of 2024, those delinquencies will be placed on the July 1st, 2024 tax roll. So I'm available for questions.
So moved.
Support.
Michelle, what's the success rate on, once it's moved to the tax rolls on collecting?
Generally, it's 100% because anybody that hasn't paid their tax by the end of the tax year, which will be February of 2025, last day of February, those will move to the county, and then the county makes the village whole.
It goes to tax sale, correct?
It could then go to the tax sale, yes.
Michelle, I don't know if you know offhand, but how does this compare to previous years in the amounts that are being put on the tax roll?
I was just gonna say, she had a document in here showed that it went down this year, so I was gonna,
You know, for
but
the
I
viewers
can't
at
find
home-
it in a
for-
stack of papers.
Yeah, for the viewers at home,
Yeah,
you
there
know.
it is. Look at that. I mean, that's,
I handed it to him.
yeah, I had it somewhere in here.
Ryan, I believe Trustee Wagner was
There's
just teeing it
There's
up.
a beautiful graph that shows that it actually did go down this year some.
In today's tight economic circumstances, that's just an testament to this village and the people and the residents. You know, it's on a great trend, trending down every year over year, so.
Right, true.
How many properties are we looking at right now? You got any idea?
17.
17. Oh, that would
Oh,
be
gee, so add another 17.
34.
34 total properties.
That's the answer. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have a motion and approval. Everybody's had time to discuss. So we'll do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Fields, Trustee Olson, Trustee Wagner, Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Reister, President Pro Tem Keller, President Frisbee.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. So we'll go to 10I. So we put out there a couple meetings ago, we had an opening. And I would like to, on behalf of the HR team, put out a recommendation for the open position for Parks and Recreation, Ms. Beth Russell. Now, Beth she attended every one of the 6 Citizens Academy. She's a very engaging young lady and had a lot of good insights, and I'm excited to see what she can bring to the Parks and Rec team if you all are so inclined to approve her. So I'd entertain a motion and support.
Trustee Wagner, so moved.
Support.
And I know, Beth, this is coming pretty quick for you, so we do a roll call, please, Christian?
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Reister, President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
Trustee Fields,
Yes?
President Frisbee.
Yes. Welcome, Beth. We expect a lot of good things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it needs to, just make it clear, we still have an open position on the planning commission, too. So,
How long is that open for?
2 year.
No, but I mean, when's the
The end of the
deadline to
month,
apply?
If we can, by the end of the first week, the village president would like to recommend a person at the July village council
Okay.
meeting.
Our third-
And the person's first meeting would be the month of August,
Oh, okay.
second Monday of August.
Okay. Thank you.
Be sure in your recruitment to mention they've got a $10 a meeting raise. Second Monday of the month is the planning commission meeting. And that will be,
Okay, I thought you were getting confused. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the 22nd of July would be our next meeting. So I think that takes us to our village manager report.
I think it's the 15th is our July meeting.
Yeah, is it recorded in there, or are you just going by the third month? The 15th, yes. Excuse me. Thank you for that clarification. It is the 15th of July, not the 22nd. So we'll get an update, Mr. Mallory?
Yes, sir. As the council is aware, Surf Internet is installing the conduit and prepping to have fiber internet service throughout the village. On Friday, Surf Internet has subcontractors that are doing that work. We, in the last couple weeks, have had communications with the subcontractors over concerns that we had, referenced some of the boring underneath some of our streets, specifically Highway Street, as well as on Michigan and Prairie. We notified, had communications with the village attorney on Friday, and we notified Surf Internet and placed a stop work order immediately on future work. And I will say that representatives of the company have been fantastic. They came right up Friday afternoon from where they're located in Indiana, and we met and started to formulate a game plan of yard restorations. And we also are seeking a detailed timeline of repairs to these subtle bumps that have occurred in some of our roadways, which I anticipate to receive in the next couple days. And we'll evaluate what they submit in timeline and then proceed forward. But I wanted the council to be aware of that action that was taken Friday. And again, the executives from Surf Internet company have been very, became aware of some of the things some subcontractors have done. So that's moving forward. But if anyone has any questions. Okay.
Was there, excuse me, this is Trustee Kissinger, was there any like infiltration on any like infrastructure under the roads or no?
There has, not on our infrastructure, we have had a couple gas lines hit. But when that has happened, there's been a discrepancy as if they were marked appropriately with the misdigs. But I think we've had 2 gas lines hit, but not water or sewer infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
did postpone last week's Berg Days events due to the heat index and that, so we always build in 2 makeup dates, so we've moved, and everyone, the bands, all the food trucks that were scheduled for June 19th have been moved to August 21st, that Wednesday. So looking forward to 48 hours from now being in downtown Vicksburg in nice weather for the Berg Days this week. We'll take the week of July 3rd off, and then we'll be back for 7 straight weeks and moving forward there. Same update with the movie in the park was we felt it was best, had conversations with Trustee Fields and Trustee Kissinger, and with the heat index, to move Friday's movie in the park to this upcoming Saturday, June 29th. So it'll be a great family event to see the original Lego movie on the big screen. So, and then announcing tonight the 2nd annual Senior Berg Day will be at the Historic Village Pavilion the Thursday after Labor Day, which is Thursday, September 5th, and more details to come on that. So that would conclude the update.
I got a question for you, Jim. The post office has approached me, and I have talked with them twice about it. I talked to Scott earlier today because I caught him in the parking lot. They're having a problem with getting trucks in and out of the post office. They would like to, they just replaced a fence, they would like to add a gate. Now exactly where, I don't know. I know there's a walk-in gate. But to make it easier, the reason is because their brand new fence has already been hit twice by trucks. I used to be a truck driver, and I'd hate to try and pull a rig into there. So if you can stop by and have a conversation with them, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I can stop by.
Okay.
It'll be tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow
All right.
morning is
Yep.
pretty tied up. But
They're closed, what, 1 to 2? So,
Okay.
yeah. So, thank you.
Any other comments to staff? So that moves us on to committee reports, and I think the only committee that's met since our last meeting was Parks and Rec.
Actually, we have a meeting, because we had a little bit of a conflict with
Okay.
tonight, so we have a meeting scheduled for Monday night. But as Jim just said in the manager's report, the first movie in the park is this Saturday night. It is the Lego movie. Activities start about 8:30. There are activities. Kalamazoo County State Bank has planned fun things for each movie, as well as Susan Calloward from the library comes in for each movie. So we usually have some kind of activity that relates to the movie up until the movie starts about dusk. So depending on that. And then if anybody else is marking their calendar, Friday, July 12th, we will be doing Christmas in July with Elf. I think there's a snowball fight that's going to occur before that. Friday, August 2nd is Sing, and I think we'll have karaoke happening before that. And then this year, for the first time, Friday, August 16th, get a sitter because it's a date night movie for the grown-ups, and that will be downtown, so as to take advantage of the food and drinks to come out and watch a movie, and that movie is to be determined yet because we haven't quite figured out what we're going to do, but.
I'm no longer on that committee, Wendy, but I still have feelings for it, I guess. Don't forget to bring your chairs for movies in the park.
And bug spray.
And bug spray, correct.
And stop by one of our local establishments and
And get
grab a
food.
pizza. We've
Yes.
seen a lot of picnics out there
Bring your own
during
food, for
movies.
sure.
Yep.
Well done. So I think Cats is Wednesday, Sewers tomorrow, and the Fire Board is next month.
No, we had a fire board meeting last Wednesday.
Oh, that's, I was even there with you. God, how come I treat him so bad? I don't know.
Feed me like a horse. Yeah, and I'm filling in for you for cats on Wednesday, so I'm gonna get a real good report, so. Anyways, yeah, fire board meeting was last week. The highlights, the ambulance provider agreement, Kaiva, there's a new draft contract that's gonna be out probably in the next month or so. So then they'll be putting that out as an RFP. So that's kind of moving forward. The software program, we were supposed to have a Zoom meeting with a representative. That got postponed, but we were informed that the software for the first year is $15,700, and that's $14,000 every year after that for the software. And we're being told that the software they're using currently doesn't really meet the specs on how the report should be generated or anything else. So the credit card we had talked about for the purchasing materials, there was no real progress on that. However, we did assign a limit on the card, and also highly encouraged them to move forward with it because of the optics of the administrator using her own personal card and then submitting for reimbursements on the monthly checks or whatever. So I did bring up the MI class, which unfortunately I left all my information at home, so when I got there I had to wing it. But I did remember Jeff's name, and I kind of gave him a 400,000 foot overview. One question they came up with was the FDIC insurance, being concerned about that, which I just told them that I really think we should look into it. So I got the information from Michelle, and we're going to make contact with him to see if he's at least available for a Zoom meeting next month, or if he can't be there in person. So we're going to work on that. Facilities, they talked about the building that we met in as a council. Evidently, he had a purchase agreement with somebody that has fallen through. So that individual has approached the fire authority again about seeing if they are interested in that building. Minor discussion on that, but I think there's going to be a lot more discussion on it. And the other part of that was they had to add $5,000 to the estimate. The station over in Schoolcraft, they have stairs in the back of the building, wooden stairs. Evidently they were condemned, so they had to get those rebuilt. Well, the inspector was requiring a set of prints, stamped prints, to be done. So the cost of engineering and everything was about $5,000 to have that done. So hopefully they'll be moving forward, they can get that done next month. Other than that, I have an apparatus meeting tomorrow night, so at 5:30 here in Vicksburg, to discuss our CIP program for new apparatus. So, end of report.
Thank you very much for that. So seeing no citizens remaining, we'll pass by comments. Takes a trustee's time to start with Trustee Kissinger.
I would like to just formally thank the village. I've been the village council, very welcoming, and been through, I feel like, a lot in the last few months, including a budget, which is super fun. Reminiscent of my college days as a senator as well, so student government senator. So again, thanks all, and I really like being involved in the village and just seeing what the village is doing. Things like Bird Days, the movies in the park, all those fun things. That's it.
Trustee Olson.
I'm good.
Trustee Fields.
I just want to take a second again to recognize the entire staff. I think before I became a member of the council, I knew there was staff that did things in the village, but I had no idea of the depth, the knowledge, and just everything that is done by all the people involved here. It's been a great learning experience. I think that everyone in the village should take a second to meet the staff, say hello to them when they see them. They do a lot of things out there. And
Can we make them wear the yellow shirt, please? at
They
birthdays?
can wear that. You should all come down to Berg Days and wear the yellow shirts, and you'll get asked to empty the trash because it does look like DPW. So, but you are greatly appreciated. As Tim mentioned when we started a couple hours ago, that some places around us had closed due to staffing has been one of the big issues. There's a huge labor shortage. The fact that you all choose to stay here is really appreciated.
Trustee Wagner.
I was going to speak a lot to what Trustee Fields did, so I'll just dovetail onto it that it's absolutely true in today's labor market and just society in general. Individuals have an understanding of what they're worth and what they're willing to do and not do. And the team here has made the decision to stay here. Manager Mallory's willing to lose out on some of his own compensation for benefiting the staff members that support the team. He is not an island, as Trustee Fields has said, and everybody here is doing amazing work, and we continue to be impressed and in awe every time that we make more advancements forward. I'll speak again that I did at the last meeting, the generational impact of the successful financial governance and stewardship that's being exhibited these past 7 years. It's world-class, and we continue to do that. It will make differences in thousands and thousands of lives. It's generational impact, and that's why we sit up here to do these things, and proud to have you as staff. So thank you very much.
Trustee Reister.
Well, I was going to say the exact same things. I do know that hours and hours and hours are spent on this budget, and I appreciate how well it's put together. Makes it easier for me to understand it because I've not been involved with that kind of thing myself, but I just know that there are people out there don't understand the number of hours that are spent, and I know Michelle has a big part of that. So I thank you both for doing that. Everybody, the staff is amazing, and we are very fortunate to have people working for us that really want to be here and want to do well for our community. So thank you.
I think tonight's meeting at an hour and 10 minutes for our regular session, but you won't believe me if I did it intentionally. So
I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. I tell you, no respect. Wait till Cats Wednesday. I'm going to give him a real good excuse why you're not there. So, I want to thank staff as well. I know what goes into it. I wish that other entities that were on different boards put as much work into their budget processes as we do here. So, looking forward to the Berg Days this coming Wednesday. I will mention that the Lions Club is going to be the highlighted nonprofit organization this week. So I will be down there. I will be in a yellow shirt, but I will not be in that yellow shirt. I have another Hawaiian shirt that I plan on wearing, so looking forward to it. So thanks.
thank you all. So the length of this time in this meeting is an indicator of how well prepped we are coming into this. You know, the hours that Mr. Mallory spends and Michelle Morgan spend putting and compiling this data in the meetings that we have leading up to this to educate us all on it. And I know sometimes you don't see that all on the YouTube, but there's a lot of time and effort been put into this to make this as painless and understandable as possible. So I want to give my thanks to Jim Mallory, Scott Sanderson, Michelle Morgan, Christian Wines, Jimmy Myers, and all the DPW staff and the policemen are just phenomenal to work with every day, and it's just I'm proud to be part of this organization. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Reister, support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, meeting adjourned.